Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we're exploring the fundamentals of Excel, focusing on basic functions and formulas. Understanding these essential tools is crucial for anyone working with data, as they can save you time, increase your productivity, and improve your ability to analyze information. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just looking to boost your skills, mastering basic Excel functions is a valuable asset. Let's dive in and unlock the power of Excel together. Many users, myself included, often confuse functions and formulas. While they are related, they are distinct concepts. In Excel, formulas are custom expressions created by users to meet specific needs. They are used to perform calculations, manipulate data, combine values, and generate results. A formula can include constants, cell references, operators, and functions. They are fundamental tools in Excel, enabling users to process data dynamically and automate complex calculations. An example will be the use of the addition operator to sum values in cells A1, A2, and A3. On the other hand, functions in Excel are predefined, built-in operations that perform specific calculations or tasks. They are designed to simplify complex or repetitive tasks, making data analysis more efficient and accessible. Functions can handle various operations, including mathematical calculations, text manipulation, date and time operations, statistical analysis, and logical tests. They use specific keywords like sum, average, and count. An example will be the use of the sum function to sum the values in cells A1 to A5. Excel functions are available for data analysis, financial modeling, statistical analysis, and many other applications. They provide flexibility and power, enabling users to effectively manipulate and analyze data. With that in mind, let's explore some commonly used basic functions in Excel. There are many functions in Excel, but one of the most commonly used is the sum function. Like many tasks in Excel, there are multiple ways to sum figures. Let's go over a couple of them, including good and bad practices. So we have quarterly revenues for 2023 and special revenues for the same year. Let's say we want to find the sum of all quarterly revenues. To do that, I'll click on cell B7, type an equal sign, then sum, followed by a left parenthesis. Next, I'll type in the individual values separated by commas and end with a right parenthesis and hit the Enter key. Though this method gives us the sum, it is prone to errors. You are very likely to mistype a figure and calculate incorrectly. Additionally, if we delete or add a row, this sum will not update itself because it is not based on any cell references. Another way to use the sum function in Excel is to reference individual cells. To do this, I'll click on cell B7, type an equal sign, then sum, followed by a left parenthesis. Next, I'll type in the cell references separated by commas, end with a right parenthesis, and hit the Enter key. While using the sum function with individual cell references is more accurate than manually typing in values, it still has some drawbacks. If you add or delete rows, the formula won't automatically update to include or exclude these cells, leading to potential errors. Additionally, if you reference the wrong cell by mistake, the result will be incorrect. Therefore, the most preferred way to use the sum function in Excel is to reference a range of cells. This method is less prone to errors and automatically adjusts when rows are added or deleted within the range. To do this, click on the cell where you want the sum to appear, in this case, B7. Type an equal sign, then sum. Follow this with a left parenthesis. Click and drag to select the range of cells you want to sum, end with a right parenthesis, and hit the Enter key. Additionally, instead of dragging, if you have a large range of data you want to sum, you can simply type in the beginning and ending cell range separated by a colon. Another thing also is the sum function provides the capability to aggregate multiple ranges effectively by separating each range with a comma within the sum function. So let's say we want to calculate the total revenue for the year including special revenue, start by typing an equal sign, then sum. Add a left parenthesis and input the first range of cells you want to sum, in this case the quarterly revenue, followed by a comma. Then type in the next range of cells you want to sum, in this case the special revenue. End with a right parenthesis and press the Enter key. We have demonstrated how to use the sum function with the range method vertically and across multiple ranges. However, you can also use the range method to sum values in multiple columns horizontally or even in a rectangular range that spans multiple rows and columns. All you need to do is select the range or ranges you want to sum by either dragging or typing the range of cell names. Let's move on to our next function in this tutorial, average. We won't delve into all the different ways to calculate the average using the average function in Excel because it works similarly to the sum function. Just like the sum function, you can calculate averages by typing in individual values manually, referencing individual cells, or using the range method. Calculating the average using the range method is less prone to errors. Therefore, we'll demonstrate the different ways to calculate averages in Excel with the average function using the range method. Let's say we want to find the average of cells E3 to E6. First, click on the cell where you want the average to appear, in this case cell E7. Type an equal sign, then average, followed by a left parenthesis. Click and drag to select the range of cells you want to average. End with a right parenthesis and hit the Enter key. Just like with the sum function, if you have a large data set and don't want to drag to select the range, you can simply type the starting and ending cell references. This approach gives you the same results as dragging across the cells. Additionally, the average function can handle multiple ranges separated by commas. For instance, to find the average of cells B3 to B6 and E3 to E6, type an equal sign, then average, followed by a left parenthesis. Drag or type the cell range B3 to B6, then add a comma, and drag or type the range E3 to E6, end with a right parenthesis and hit Enter. You can include as many ranges as needed, simply separating each range with a comma. A few important points to note. The average function ignores blank cells. For example, if we calculate the average for the range D3 to E6, it will yield the same result as the range E3 to E6 because blank cells are not considered. Additionally, text values are ignored. If we enter random letters within the selected cell range, the average will remain unchanged, as the function does not include text entries in its calculations. To calculate the averages of non-numeric values, such as text, we need to use the average A function, which will be covered in a separate video. Finally, the syntax of the average function is quite similar to that of the sum function, but there's a fundamental difference in how both functions treat zeros. While zeros do not change the total sum of a given range, they do affect the average. Theoretically, the average of any given range of numbers is the sum of those numbers divided by the count of those numbers. Therefore, even though zeros do not change the sum, they do affect the average because they increase the count of values in the range, potentially lowering the average. So, let's be mindful of this when using the average function. Let's move ahead to the next function we will cover in this tutorial, the max and min functions. The max and min functions do exactly what their names suggest. They return the highest or lowest number in a given range, respectively. Let's say we want to find the best first quarter from 2019 to 2023. To do this, we'll select cell C9, type an equal sign, then max, followed by a left parenthesis. Next, we'll drag to select the cell range C4 to C8 or type it in, add the closing parenthesis, and then hit Enter. This will give us the maximum value, representing the best performing first quarter from 2019 to 2023. Similarly, if we want to find the lowest performing first quarter from 2019 to 2023, we will select cell C10, type an equal sign, then min, followed by a left parenthesis. Next, we'll drag to select the cell range C4 to C8 or type it in, add the closing parenthesis, and then hit enter. The max and min functions, like the sum and average functions, can be used to find the maximum or minimum value in a range of cells within a row. For example, if we want to find the best quarter in 2019, we would select cell G4, type an equal sign, then max, followed by the left parenthesis. Next, we would drag to select the cell range C4 to F4, add the closing parenthesis, and then hit enter. This will give us the highest value, indicating the best quarter for 2019. Similarly, if we want to find the worst quarter in 2019, we would select cell H4, type an equal sign, then min, followed by a left parenthesis. Next, we would drag to select the cell range C4 to F4, end with a right parenthesis, and hit enter. This will give us the lowest value, indicating the worst quarter for 2019. Instead of manually entering the formula for each cell, click on the cell containing the formula and locate the small plus sign at the bottom right corner, known as the fill handle. Click and hold the left mouse button, then drag the fill handle over the cells where you want to copy the formula. You can drag it vertically or horizontally, depending on where the formula needs to be applied. This method can be used with all the Excel functions we've covered. The max and min functions can also be used to find the highest or lowest values in a block of cells spanning multiple rows and columns. For instance, to find the best performing quarter from 2019 to 2023, select cell G9, type an equal sign, then max, followed by a left parenthesis. Next, drag to select the cell range C4 to F8, end with a right parenthesis, then hit enter. This will give us the highest value, representing the best quarter from 2019 to 2023. Similarly, we can identify the worst performing quarter by using the min function in the same way. Let's proceed to the next functions in this tutorial, count and count A. When handling data in Excel, counting the number of cells can be a common task. The count and count A functions are both useful for this purpose, but they operate differently. The count function tallies the number of cells containing numeric values, while count A counts all non-empty cells regardless of their content. The syntax for these functions is quite similar to the other functions we've covered in this tutorial. For example, if we want to count the cells in the range B4 to B8, we would click on cell B9, type an equal sign, then enter count, followed by an open parenthesis. Next, we would drag to select the range B4 to B8, close with a right parenthesis, and press enter. Similarly, we can use the count A function to count the cells in the range B4 to B8. To do this, click on cell B10, type an equal sign, then enter count A followed by an open parenthesis. Next, drag to select the range B4 to B8, close with a right parenthesis, and press enter. As we can see, both the count and count A functions return a value of 5 for the range B4 to B8. This is because when the range consists solely of numeric data, both functions yield the same result. However, if the range includes a mix of numbers, text, and blanks, the count and count A functions will produce different results, as we will demonstrate shortly. With that in mind, let's proceed to find the count of cells in the range C4 to C8 using both the count and count A functions. As demonstrated, the count function returns a value of 3 because there are only 3 numeric values in this range. In contrast, the count A function returns a value of 5 as it counts all non-empty cells, including those with numbers, text, errors, or other data types. We will repeat this exercise for the range D4 to D8 to illustrate how both functions handle blank cells. Again, the count function returns a value of 3, as there are only 3 numeric values in this range. However, the count A function returns a value of 4 because it counts all non-empty cells, excluding the blank one. In our day-to-day data analysis, you may need to count the number of numeric entries or the number of non-empty cells in our dataset. Understanding the differences between these two functions is crucial for choosing the right one for our specific needs. We will now proceed to the final function in this tutorial, AutoSum. AutoSum is a handy feature in Excel that quickly calculates the sum of a selected range of cells, making it easy to add numbers in rows or columns without manually entering a formula. AutoSum works by summing a range of cells and displaying the total in the cell below or to the right of the selected range. Here we have a table of sales from 14 account managers for the year 2023. To use AutoSum to calculate the total sales for all account managers in the first quarter, we first click on the cell where we want the sum to appear, which in this case is cell B19. Next, we will go to the Home tab on the Excel ribbon and click on the AutoSum button, or the sigma symbol. This option is also available on the Formulas tab. Excel will automatically select the range it thinks you want to sum, typically choosing the contiguous cells above or to the left of the selected cell. If the selected range is correct, simply press Enter to confirm. If not, you can adjust the range by dragging your mouse or manually entering the desired range. In this case, the automatically selected range is correct, so we will press Enter to confirm. The selected cell will then display the calculated total. Alternatively, we can use the keyboard shortcut key Alt plus =. By pressing both keys simultaneously, Excel will calculate the AutoSum for the selected range. We can use AutoSum to sum multiple rows, columns, or even a block of cells simultaneously. To do this, simply select the cells at the end of the rows or columns where you want the totals to appear. Then click the AutoSum button or use the keyboard shortcut. In addition to summing numbers, Excel's AutoSum feature can also quickly calculate other functions. While its primary purpose is to sum a range of numbers, AutoSum also provides quick access to several other common functions such as average, count, max, and mint. For example, to find the average of account manager Olivia Smith's sales for the year 2023, select cell G5, click the small drop-down arrow next to the AutoSum button, and choose Average from the options. You'll notice that the default range for the average calculation incorrectly includes the total sales in cell F5. To correct this, adjust the range to include only the sales from the 4 quarters, excluding cell F5. We can similarly use this method to find the maximum and minimum values. For example, we will use this approach to determine Olivia Smith's best and worst quarters in 2023. And that wraps up our tutorial. Thank you for watching. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Be sure to click the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. If you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, drop a comment below. We'll see you in the next video.